The gathering stormed the command center of the Galactic Alliance buzzed with tension. Dozens of alien species sat around a long, curved table, their faces filled with fear and confusion. The enemy, a massive war faction known as the Krell Dominion, had declared total war. Planets had already fallen. The galaxy was on the edge of collapse, but Earth was quiet. No one had heard from the humans since the declaration of war. The Alliance had sent a message to Earth, requesting help, begging, even. But the humans hadn't responded. Days passed. Then weeks. A tall commander named Relax stood at the center of the table. He slammed his hand down. We cannot move without Earth. Their fleets are unmatched. We wait. Many agreed. Humans must approve the plan. They must lead, another alien said. They are our strongest fighters. But one small ambassador, an insect-like creature named Triv, spoke up. I don't think we should wait, he said nervously. Have you forgotten who humans are? They never wait. Relax frowned. We cannot act without orders. Far away from that table, in the dark space near the Krell front line, something moved. Commander Mason of Earth's 9th Fleet stared at a giant screen aboard the human battleship. Fury Blade. Dozens of Krell ships sat ahead, completely unaware of what approached. Mason's crew was silent but ready. He gave a small nod. No orders coming from the Alliance. Fine by me. We do it our way. The massive Terran warships roared to life, invisible under stealth fields. They moved like shadows. Earth's fleet didn't wait for messages or permission. While others planned, they had already started the war. Back at the Galactic Alliance table, a messenger ran in, breathless. We are getting reports. The Krell forces, they are under attack. Relax stood up quickly. What? Who? Which Alliance fleet? The messenger looked stunned. It's not an Alliance fleet, it's humans. Gasps echoed around the chamber. They are not just attacking. They are winning. No one moved. The room fell silent. Triv leaned back and smiled. I told you, he whispered, they don't wait. Meanwhile, in space, the Fury Blade broke through Krell lines like a knife through soft metal. Mason looked at his crew. By the time they send us orders, he said, this war will already be over. Earth moves in silence in the cold vacuum of space. Fire danced where the Krell Armada once stood strong. Earth's fleet, led by the battleship Fury Blade, struck like ghosts. They appeared, fired with deadly precision, then vanished again behind their stealth shields. The Krell had no time to respond. Their commanders screamed over channels, demanding support. But none came. Their backup fleets were too far, and their sensors failed to detect the humans until it was too late. Inside the command room of the Fury Blade, Commander Mason watched the map. Red dots blinked out one after another, each one a destroyed Krell warship. A younger officer looked up. Sir, they are rooting. Krell ships are breaking formation and running. Mason didn't smile. He didn't celebrate. He only spoke. 2 words, push forward. The humans pressed into enemy territory, ignoring borders or politics. Behind them, floating wreckage marked their path. Back on the Galactic Alliance station, panic turned to confusion. New reports poured in, over 40 Krell warships destroyed in just 1 hour. No losses reported from the human fleet. They've taken back 3 systems without any backup. Relax stood frozen, his eyes on the growing list of destroyed Krell assets. This can't be right, he said. Where are their orders coming from? Triv buzzed his wings and chuckled softly. Their orders come from one place, Earth's will. A new holo message blinked to life. It was from an alien scout vessel near the front. On screen, the sky was full of human ships, sleek, black, massive in size. Smaller strike crafts moved like insects, too fast to follow. Krell defenses fell apart in minutes. One image made the room go silent. A massive space station, Krell-owned, split down the middle as a human railgun shell tore it apart. The scouts. Final transmission, they don't speak. They don't hesitate. They just win. Elsewhere, Mason stood inside the briefing room aboard the Fury Blade. Around him were other captains, all patched in via secure channels from their own ships. They didn't wear medals or formal uniforms. Their faces were hard, eyes sharp. We strike the Krell home base next, Mason said simply. Their command chain collapses, the war ends. Should we inform the Alliance? One captain asked. Mason shook his head. By the time their message reaches Earth, we'll already be done. The captains nodded in unison. For them, silence was approval. Victory was proof. They were trained not to wait, but to finish what others feared to begin. In one corner of the galaxy, Krell leadership screamed into broken comms, trying to understand who had shattered their fleet. In another, the Galactic Alliance still waited for Earth to reply to their message, but Earth had already answered, with fire. The last Krell stronghold. The Krell High Commander stood trembling before a cracked hollow table. Behind him, his war council argued, shouted, panicked. The map before them, once a sea of red, was now covered in black, human fleet markers. Entire sectors were lost in hours. Not days. Hours? How did they bypass our detection grids? One Krell general barked, how did they take back so many planets without warning? Another hissed. The High Commander slammed a clawed hand down. Enough. Prepare the home fleet. Every ship, every fighter, every soldier, now. It was their final move. A desperate stand. If their homeworld fell, the war was lost, but Earth was already coming. On board the Fury Blade, Commander Mason stared out at the stars, arms behind his back. He didn't speak much, but his silence always meant one thing: the plan was already in motion. Homeworld identified, said his officer. Defense grid is massive. 4 orbital cannons. 2 supercarriers. Over 200 ships. Status of our reinforcements. Already waiting in dark space. Signal ready. Mason nodded. Call in the wolves. The officer tapped a command, and silently, the darkness of space shifted. From the void, over 30 more Terran warships decloaked, sleek, deadly, shaped for war. Each bore the symbol of Earth's elite, the Black Wolf. The Fury Blade led the charge. The Krell homeworld, early alarms blared. Their sensors flickered, then overloaded. Ships dropped from stealth, already in formation, already firing. It wasn't just an attack, it was a coordinated slaughter. The orbital cannons powered up, too late. The first exploded before firing. The second misfired and hit a Krell ship by mistake. On the surface, Krell leaders watched in horror as their greatest fleet was reduced to burning husks in orbit. Their pride. Their dominance. Gone in moments. A young Krell officer screamed, they didn't even warn us. The High Commander whispered, no, they warned us by staying silent. At the Alliance Council, panic turned to disbelief. Reports flooded in, Earth's fleet has destroyed Krell Command. They've taken control of the homeworld orbit. No survivors among Krell High Command. Relax stood slowly, trembling. They acted without our approval. They didn't wait. Truv replied, no, they never wait. That's why they win. One ambassador leaned in. Should we try to contact the humans now? Truv smiled darkly. By the time your message reaches them, they'll already be planning cleanup. Back in space, Mason watched the last Krell ship explode in silence. His face didn't show emotion. There was no joy in this, only duty. He spoke to his crew, secure the orbit. Begin search and rescue for captives. Transmit this message to the Alliance. They waited, then he said it, war's over. We won. Asterisk. The message and the silent smoke drifted in the void above the Krell homeworld. Wreckage floated silently, torn hulls, broken wings, shattered dreams of conquest. Earth's fleet remained in tight formation, unmoving, like giant watchful beasts. In the stars.no celebration.no cheering, just the cold silence of a job done, Commander Mason stood in the command bay of the Fury Blade. His voice was low but firm. All ships, hold position. Begin broadcast. A comms officer activated the transmission. Mason stepped forward, facing the camera. Across the galaxy, on hundreds of worlds, his image flickered onto screens. This is Commander Mason of Earth's 9th Fleet. To the Galactic Alliance, and to any who doubted, this war is over. He paused. You waited. You debated. You planned. While you talked, we fought. And now, the Krell are gone. His eyes hardened. We didn't wait for permission. We acted. Because that's what Earth does. We don't hesitate. We protect our own. We defend the weak. We move before fear sets in. He took one breath. To the Krell allies hiding in the shadows, know this: if you rise, we will come. Fast. Without warning. The feed ended. In the Galactic Alliance's main chamber, silence hung heavy in the air after Mason's message. Dozens of leaders sat frozen. Screens still flickered. With scenes of Krell defeat. An older alien stood up. They ended it. Without us. Relak finally sat down, head lowered. We waited. They didn't. And that's why they are different. Triv stood proudly. They are not like us. That's why we called them in the first place. Others began to murmur, should we sanction them for acting alone? Or thank them for saving us? Triv raised a finger. The question isn't what we should do. The question is, what will Earth do next? Far from politics and screens, Earth's soldiers worked silently. On the ruined Krell world, they moved through burnt-out cities, not as conquerors but as liberators. They rescued prisoners, delivered food, tended wounds. A young girl, non-human, was pulled from the rubble by a human medic. She looked up, scared. The soldier offered water and smiled. You're safe now. Her eyes filled with tears. Not because of pain, but because someone came. Not for land. Not for control. But just to help. Mason watched from orbit as aid missions dropped in waves. Earth didn't wait for orders to rebuild either. Beside him, a junior officer asked, Sir, why don't we wait like the others? Mason answered without turning. Because waiting costs lives. Outside, human banners didn't fly. There were no grand speeches. No glory parades. Just the quiet hum of action. The war was over, and Earth had moved on before anyone else could even stand. Fear, respect, and the whisper of power. The war was over. But the galaxy didn't return to peace. Instead, it held its breath. In every corner of known space, races whispered the same name, humanity. The word no longer meant a simple species. It meant movement. Action. Victory before command. Children on desert worlds played games pretending to be human commanders. Soldiers from minor races studied Earth tactics in secret. And politicians feared the Krell were destroyed. Their allies, once loud and bold, went silent overnight. Ships vanished. Border threats faded. Everyone had seen what Earth's fleet had done, and no one wanted to be next. In the Galactic Council Hall, the usual noise of arguments and debates was gone. Everyone was still, waiting for Earth's next word, but Earth didn't speak instead. They kept rebuilding. Silently. Efficiently. A nervous ambassador from the Jarrell species stood up. Shouldn't we call a summit? Invite Earth back into the council? Relak rubbed his temples. They are not ignoring us. They've just outgrown us. Triv stood slowly. We wanted strength. They gave it. Now you worry because they acted faster than us. Not faster, someone whispered. Before us. The whole chamber looked around. That single word, before, echoed louder than speeches ever could. Back in space, Earth's fleet didn't return home. Instead, they split into smaller task groups, stationing quietly around fragile worlds. No flags. No threats. Just calm patrols in the dark. One such patrol moved through the outer edge of a forgotten colony world. Pirates had been harassing the people there for months, until now the pirates saw the outline of a single Earth frigate in the sky and fled without firing a shot. No orders. No battles. Just presence. The locals called it the shield in the stars. In a hidden bunker on a far moon, leaders from minor races met in secret. Their faces were tight with fear. We must build our own fleets, one said. We can't rely on humans forever. But we can't oppose them either, another replied. They don't threaten. That makes it worse. There's no way to bargain. They didn't take land. They didn't demand tribute. They didn't need to, came a quiet voice. They already proved what happens when they decide to act. The room went quiet again. They all remembered the humans had sent no warnings, but delivered total victory. On board the Fury Blade, now orbiting a small recovering world, Commander Mason stood on the observation deck. His officer joined him. Council still hasn't contacted us, sir. Mason nodded. They will. Eventually. Do we answer? He looked out at the stars. Maybe. Maybe not. But if another threat rises, the officer waited. We won't wait for them to ask. Earth's strength wasn't in weapons or numbers. It was in decision. In movement without delay. In winning before the war even began, and the galaxy finally understood you don't wait for humans. Because humans never wait for you. The quiet before the unknown weeks passed. Earth's fleets continued their quiet watch over recovering worlds. No new wars. No battles. Only peace. But a strange silence had begun to stretch across parts of the galaxy, not peaceful, but hollow. Something felt off. In the dark zones beyond the last mapped stars, colonies went silent. Long-range comms failed. Patrol ships vanished without a trace. No distress calls. Just empty static. At first, the Galactic Council ignored it. They assumed pirates, tech failures, or local unrest. But the disappearances grew. Entire stations. Mining rings. A whole moon colony lost contact. Fear returned, and Earth noticed. On the Fury Blade, Commander Mason stood at the command table, eyes locked on the new report. A scout drone sent from an Earth-aligned outpost had returned. What it recorded was chilling. A station drifting, lifeless. No signs of battle. No explosions. Just stillness. Like it had been emptied. Scan reports no signs of power. No bodies, the officer said. It's like everyone just left. Mason looked at the map. That's the 5th one this week. A silence fell in the room. Prepare Black Ops teams. No comms. Deep scan only. He paused, then added. And send word to the 12th Ghost Fleet. His second-in-command turned to him. Sir? Isn't that classified even above the Council? Mason nodded. Exactly. Whatever this is, we're not asking for permission. At the Council, tension returned quickly. We must form a committee to investigate, said one tall ambassador. No. We must send fleets immediately. What if it's a human trap? They might be testing us. Relax stood. Enough. This isn't a trick. Humans are already moving. How do you know? Someone demanded. Triv answered quietly, because they always move first. You'll see their answers when it's already done. In a dark, cold part of space, a human Black Ops ship cloaked and silent drifted into the ruins of a lost science station. Its lights flickered. A camera scanned every hallway. No blood. No damage. But one message had been burned into a wall, not with tools, but with heat, like it had been scorched there by pure energy. 3 words, we are awake. The team pulled back instantly. No hesitation. Message sent, back on the Fury Blade. Mason read the report, his jaw tightened. Send to High Command. Code, Deep Ice. Full lockdown. The officer paled. That's the code for ancient threats, the ones we are not supposed to speak about. Mason nodded slowly. We won the war everyone saw. But this, he tapped a report. This isn't war. This is something else. He turned to the stars again, and if the galaxy waits again, like last time, he looked at his crew, we may not have another chance to win first. Asterisk. The first and the final move deep within a hidden chamber beneath Earth's surface, sealed for centuries. Alarms began to pulse. Slow. Red. Silent. There were no guards. No lights. Just a vault door with one word etched across it, unsealed. Far above, in orbit, the Fury Blade had already received the directive. Commander Mason stood alone in the war room, reading the decrypted files. They were old. Pre-alliance. Before Earth joined the galaxy's politics, the file spoke of something forgotten by the rest of the stars, something humanity never forgot. A race older than the Krell. Older than the Council, they had no name, only a warning. They wait in silence. They feed on stillness. They erase without war. And now, they were awake again, back at the Galactic Council. Ambassadors shouted over each other. Human probes found something, they won't share it. They've already mobilized 4 black fleets. We weren't even told. Earth is hiding something. Triv stood slowly and raised a hand. They are not hiding. They are protecting us. Protecting? From what? Triv's voice was low. From what's coming? Everyone fell quiet. He stepped forward, voice firmer now. You don't understand. We thought humans were fast. Because they loved war. But it's because they were prepared for something worse. Something we ignored. Something they've been waiting for. They never said anything, another alien whispered. They didn't need to, Triv replied. Because Earth never waits. Not even for fear. In the void beyond charted space, human stealth ships watched a strange structure form, not built. Not constructed, grown, black tendrils of matter expanded in silence, coating moons, pulling in wreckage. Everything touched simply vanished. Time, matter, light, all dissolved. This was no war. This was erasure. Earth's 12th Ghost Fleet didn't panic. They acted. Quietly. Calmly, they placed beacons. Mapped trajectories. Recovered data. Then they disappeared, leaving no trace, and sent one message across secure channels: initiate. Protocol Final Dawn. Commander Mason gathered his captains. His voice was steady. We warned them. They didn't listen. Now they all look to us again. He tapped the star map. This thing, whatever it is, it doesn't think. It doesn't speak. It just removes. And it's heading toward the core systems. What do we do? One captain asked. We do what Earth always does, Mason said. We act. He turned to the screen, and by the time they ask us what we are doing, he smiled for the first time. They'll already be safe. In the final scene, Earth's fleets moved, not for power, not for pride, but because if they didn't, no one else would. The stars may shine, the councils may wait, but humanity had already begun the next war, and just like before, they didn't wait. They moved. They didn't ask. They decided. They didn't plan to win. They already had. Asterisk.